everyone ready? All right, we'll have Omar open it up with a few comments, then pass it over to Coach and open it up for questions. O?
Hey guys, how are you? Obviously an exciting day for us. I think the other day when we met, we talked about certain guys that we would not trade away from, and this is one of those players for us. The phone was ringing and we had some serious conversations, but at the end of the day, once Derek was still there, we were excited, and it was an easy choice for us. But said can't wait to get him here. He fits the Pittsburgh Steelers, and like I said, I can't wait to get him in here. Coach.
Like Omar said, man, he has Steeler DNA. For us, man, it starts inside and up front, and this is a guy that's capable of dominating that space versus the run and the pass. And so we're really excited about having him. As Omar mentioned, we weren't interested in considering trading away from him, and really excited about getting him in here and getting started.
Mike, what was it, how urgent, important was it to get a defensive lineman, and what do you like about this guy additionally to what you said?
Extreme urgency, to be quite honest with you. There's no substitute for young talent. You don't have a chance to fill a quality defense unless you're stout inside and up front. This is a young guy, man, that has an opportunity to learn from the likes of Cam Hayward and put his hand in that pile and be a significant contributor for us for years to come.
Omar, do you listen at all just in case somebody wants to, blow your doors off or something?
I mean, obviously you do. We were working the phones, several picks before ours, and you listen, you have to. We owe it to ourselves to listen, and you don't know how it's going to shake out. When you're 5 or 6 picks ahead, and you obviously listen, and you weigh things. But at the end of the day, he was just one of those players we're not going to trade away from.
In the way the board shook out, were you starting to wonder if he might be there because there wasn't a little bit of a run on?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, we're watching it like you guys are, and we don't know what those other teams are going to pick, and it just worked out for us.
Guys, there's a lot of defensive linemen, obviously, in this first class. Did you see something in Harmon that maybe stood out, specifically related to the Steelers?
I just think he's been impressive at every step of the process for us. His tape was impressive. We had great visits with him in Indy. He came to Pittsburgh, man, we had a great day with him. Just with each interaction, we all got more and more comfortable with he was our type of a guy.
Mike mentioned him learning from Cam Hayward. How much was Cam advocating to add Derek Harmon?
Cam's a team player. He wasn't really advocating for anyone, to be quite honest with you. But he's a quality leader, and I'm sure that he will take that personally.
Mike, you talked about the urgency at defensive tackle. How did the way the run defense struggled down the stretch inform that urgency?
The tape is the tape, and so we're behaving appropriately. You don't have a chance to have a top-notch defense unless you're smashing the run and getting after the quarterback. And this is a guy whose resume says he's capable of contributing in both areas.
Omar, as you pointed out to us on Tuesday, you only have 2 quarterbacks in the roster. You wanted to have 4 when you get to Latrobe. Were you at all tempted to go QB with only 1 guy off the board by the time you got up to 21?
We were on the clock. We got the player that we wanted.
Throughout the draft process, there was some noise about some medical concerns about Derek. Any red flags there when you guys met with him at all?
We wouldn't have picked him unless we were our medical staff and we were comfortable with it.
Yeah, we had him in on a pre-draft 30 visit, had an opportunity to get our docs, him in front of our docs, and we were extremely comfortable with that component.
Mike, you've talked a lot recently about how you guys play a lot of sub-package football. With Derek Harmon leading college football in pressures, how much can he contribute as a 3-down type of player?
I think that was one of the critical points I wanted to make. He's a big man. He's stout against the run. His resume and tape confirms that. But he's also a major threat in terms of getting after the quarterback. Probably tops in this draft class in terms of interior rushman. And so, we got us a big man that's capable of being significant for us in all circumstances. And that's just, that's what you want when you're talking about first round in the draft.
Obviously, he's got a lot of attractive traits, length and size and everything like that. But can you go into the football IQ part of it? It just seems like he's got it's definitely more.
His intangible qualities are very attractive. He's a smart guy. He's a football guy. He's got natural leadership skills. The people at Oregon were really blown away by his ability to fit in, and not only fit in, but lead in a short period of time. He had a similar reputation at Michigan State. And so The tangible things are obvious, but we were equally as impressed with his intangible qualities, his intellect, his relationship with the game, his natural leadership qualities.
A little bit in that same vein, during your conversations with him, was there something that really stuck out to you, impressed you, kind of was a note in that way?
You know, just for a young guy, I thought he had an awesome sense of self. He was comfortable in his shoes. He had a real agenda about, you know, what he's trying to get done within the game of football. He's got a desire to be great. All of those things were attractive.
Omar, you hit the offensive line hard the first 2 years you're here, flipping over to the defense. Is that obviously the plan when you took over here, to hammer those two areas?
Yeah, you guys have heard me talk about the big guys on both, and that just doesn't apply to the offensive side, obviously. So, yeah, we you know, same thing. Defensive side was an opportunity, and you know, those big guys they're not easy to find, and you know, when you have the opportunity to get a good one, we're gonna get them.
Mike, how much versatility is there with Cam and Derek and playing the 3 and the 5, and how do you see them being on the field at the same time?
You know, I'm anticipating those guys working well together. I've seen Derek dominate in terms of the pass rush from the A gap or the B gap. We've all been looking at Cam do that for a long period of time. And so I think we're going to have great flexibility there in terms of how we choose to deploy those guys.
Obviously,
play any nose if needed?
You know, I don't think nose is his game, but you know, the rush component at 3 and 5 and some of those things certainly.
Obviously, throughout this process, there's still a whole draft to go. You know, the 6 more rounds to go. But when you consider Keanu Benton and his role, do you still view him more as closer to a nose or a 3, or you just want to get as many bodies in front as you can?
I think we got, you know, 2 quality young players, man, that hopefully going to play a long time together, man, and have a great deal of success. Both guys are versatile. Both guys are stout against the run. Both guys are pass rush capable. And so, you know, we'll sort some of those details out once we get them on the grass and begin the process of team development for 2025.
Omar, once you got to 21, was there a deliberation? Did you go over it, or did you just say, wow, here we are, here's our guy?
Yeah, we knew before it was
Yeah.
easy. He was there. We were taking him.
Okay.
2 more here, 2 more.
For either one of you guys, obviously nobody didn't think tonight's a finished product, but where are some areas where Derek specifically still needs to improve?
Oh, let me take it.
Wait, what was the question? Say it again.
No, I was gonna say, obviously nobody's a finished product in the draft, but where are some areas specifically where Derek still needs to improve to get to the next level?
You know, he's a young guy. I think he's 21 years old, and you know, I think the ceiling's really high for him, and you know, we'll see where it goes. I mean, you know, I think we could all improve at everything we do in life, but he's got a good opportunity.
Yeah, I was getting ready to say, not to specifically avoid answering your question, but 21-year-old guy, he's got a lot of tools in his toolbox, but there's a lot of areas for improvement as he transitions from college to professional football. We'll have a better sense of it as we begin to work and see him in that setting.
Last one here.
What do you remember about when Harmon first got on your radar as a prospect, and what stood out to you maybe from the beginning?
You know, we talked to him in Indy, and you know, but we had our meetings before that, and he's just a guy that stood out. We had done a lot of homework on him. You know, we had a lot of contacts in Michigan State, and obviously Oregon. We know some people, and it was just, you know, he checked a lot of boxes for us.
All right, thank you guys.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.